So lately, I have been noticing that the Boo saga has been getting a lot of criticism for reasons I really do not understand. This has to be the most underrated saga of all in DBZ. To start off, I must say this. I, for one, do not hate the Boo saga. I know that a lot of people say that the Boo saga was probably the worst saga of all in DBZ. I actually liked it. Hell, I'll even say it. I love the Boo saga. It's actually my second favorite arc. I loved all the fight scenes, especially the battle between Goku and Majin Vegeta. In my opinion, I think this battle was more epic than their first fight in the second saga. I also really loved the character development. It was very well done. Vegeta finally becomes a good guy, Videl falls in love with Gohan, Hercule regrets having his fame and glory get to his head, even the Fat Boo develops as he forms a friendship with Hercule and even experiences the pain of loss for the first time. I also really love the humor in this arc. My favorite was the part where Vegito fights Boo as a jawbreaker. I fucking loved this scene. I thought it was hilarious. And I'm also very excited that DBZ Kai is now finally getting the Boo saga. But anyways, one of the major complaints I hear people say is that Boo is a complete ripoff of Cell. Now, I understand how this confuses a lot of people because, yeah, they are pretty similar when it comes to absorption, regenerating, and the ability to copy other people's fighting moves. But they are much more different than you think. Toriyama is not dumb, okay? I believe he did do his best to create a villain that was original. So, I'm going to break down these three categories and show everyone that Boo is not a complete Cell ripoff. Now, starting off with the absorption ability, when Cell absorbs his victims, he's not copying their appearance, their personality, or their abilities. He's actually draining their energy, just like androids 19 and 20 were doing. Cell is basically a giant insect who feeds off energy in order to evolve, and he needed the infinite energy of 17 and 18 in order to reach his maximum evolution, which is known as his perfect form. In fact, he didn't even need to keep 17 and 18 in his body forever in order to stay in his perfect form, although he did revert back to his previous form after he threw up 18, but after he self-destructed, he returned in his perfect form, and he no longer had 18 inside of him anymore. The reason for that is because when he absorbed 17 and 18, the power he got from them was stored away in Cell's nucleus. After he exploded, his nucleus reawakened the power that he had lost. All Cell does is absorb energy. When Boo absorbs his victims, it's more of a fusion. He's actually combining his powers and abilities with the person he absorbs and ends up being the one in control. It's similar to the Batora fusion when it comes to Kibito Kai and the Old Kai. When they fused, one person had their personality remain intact while the other person faded away. The plus side for Cell is that he can absorb anyone he wants and he'll just keep getting stronger because all he is doing is absorbing their energy. Boo, however, can't really absorb anyone because there are certain people that can actually weaken him if he absorbs them. That's actually shown when he absorbed the Grand Supreme Kai, Daikaio. Due to Daikaio's innocence and purity, he weakened Boo by turning him into the fat, happy, frolicking Boo. That is the difference between Boo and Cell when it comes to absorption. Cell is just absorbing energy. Boo, however, is fusing with his victims. Now onto the regenerating ability. The major reason why Cell is able to regenerate is because he has Piccolo's cells inside of him. However, there is a catch when it comes to that. In order for Namekians to regenerate, there are two things they need. They need to have their core intact, which is located in their head, and they also need energy. Most of the time when Nameks regenerate a missing part of their body, they yell really loud, and after they regenerate, they start panting. That shows that regenerating takes a lot out of them, and the same thing goes for Cell. Boo, however, is a shape-shifting creature with endless stamina. He's more than just regenerating, he's actually healing himself. He has the ability to remove any scars or bruises he gets and restore himself to full power. Cell, however, cannot do that. He had to eat a senzu bean just like everyone else does in order to restore their full power. What's interesting is that Boo can control any part of his body even if it's severed. Plus, there are times when Boo doesn't need to actually regenerate. He can even reattach parts of his body like a Lego figurine. He can even reform from small blobs and even smoke, which makes him an extremely difficult villain to kill. In most cases, it looks a lot like Boo is made from silly putty. But when it comes to regenerating, Cell is using his energy and his core in order to regenerate a missing part of his body. Boo, however, is a shape-shifting creature who is able to reform and also heal himself. Now, on to the final category. Well, yes, of course, Boo does have the ability to copy other people's techniques just like Cell. But you know what? So does everyone else. Tien was the very first character to use the solar flare technique, and Goku and Krillin picked it up from him. The Masenko Ha was originally Piccolo's attack, and Gohan learned it from him. Goku, Vegeta, and even Android 18 are able to do the Destructo Disc just like Krillin. Goku even copied the afterimage technique from his master Roshi, who was disguised as Jackie Chan at the time. Krillin and Piccolo were able to do the multiform technique just like Tien. Vegeta even found out how to sense energy during his first visit to Earth. He even performed the Hell Zone grenade on Boo, which was originally Piccolo's attack, and Gotenks even did a mouth blast after seeing Boo perform it. Now, Cell does not have any techniques of his own. Pretty much every single ability he has is just a stolen fighting technique from the other Z Warriors. Boo, however, actually does have techniques of his own that he didn't steal from other fighters, like the human extinction attack, turning people into candy, generating electricity through his arms to shock his opponents, blowing a huge amount of hot steam to destroy an entire city, the vanishing ball, which he used to destroy the Earth, and he's also extremely flexible, which gives him the ability to act like a cannonball, liquefy, wrap himself around opponents to strangle them, creating a hole in his stomach to dodge attacks, and he can even take his arm apart and use it as a magically controlled ball to attack his opponents. When Cell was created, he was actually born with all the Z Warrior's abilities. Boo, however, was not. He either had to absorb someone, or he had to see how a technique was performed first before he could do it. Just like how everyone else does it. They usually fuse with someone, or they had to see how a technique was performed first. So, as you can see, Boo is not a ripoff of Cell. Cell is a biotechnological android created from the Z Warrior cells who is able to absorb energy. Boo is a magical shape-shifting creature with infinite stamina who is able to heal himself and fuse with his victims. So, I hope you all enjoyed that sharp presentation, and I hope most of y'all are really looking forward to seeing the Boo saga of Dragon Ball Kai this April. See y'all later.